everyone, welcome to part 2 of the application. After coming back from part 1, we're going to sign in here and put in our information that we submitted earlier. You're going to put in your email and your password and type that all out. And once you're done, you're going to press sign in. Once you've signed in, you're going to be brought to this ID Me page. We're going to skip over this for now and go straight to the application. So press the blue link under the green button and you're going to press Decline ID Me and you're going to continue. After you've done that, you're going to press Start a New Application after making sure your information is correct down here, and you're going to click that blue button and Start. You're going to be brought to this page where you're going to submit your enrollment information and select the term you're applying for. We have spring, summer, fall, and winter terms, so you're going to select the one that applies to you. Then you're going to select your educational goal. We have a lot of different options here. You're going to select the one that closest fits yours. And next, you're going to be selecting your major. We have a lot of different majors on our campus and different certificates and programs, so look into the one you want to do and select that one. Once you're done with that, you're going to press continue. I'm going to change my term to spring, and then we're going to continue. Now you're going to fill out your profile, so if you've had a previous name, you're going to put yes. If not, then no. Social Security, you would fill it out here if you do have one. For the sake of the video, I'm going to put no and continue with the application. Your current mailing address, it should be the same as your open GCC account since you just made it. If it's different, then you type in the new one. Then you're going to be brought to your college enrollment status. If this is your first time as a college student, you would put first time. Or if it is your first time at this college, but you've attended another college, then you'd select the second option. Or if you're a returning student to this college after being absent for a main term, then you select the third option. Or if you're an adult school student in a high school diploma or equivalency program, then the last option would be best. Also, depending on your birthday, you may see an option to enroll in both high school or a lower grade and college at the same time. If you're planning to take college classes while still in high school, please select this option. Then you're going to fill out your high school education information. You're going to select which one applies to you, whether you've received a diploma from here or a foreign school, and you're going to put your completion date. If you can't remember, try to estimate as best as you can to the closest day and year of your graduation. If you received your diploma in California, put yes, and if you've attended high school for 3 or more years, also click yes. This is where you're going to fill out the actual high school information, the name of the school, and the city and state it was in. This is where you put the state information, and this is where you type out the actual name of the school. If the school is not recognized by our system, you can just type it out and manually put it in yourself. And this is about your high school transcript. So this is the section where you're going to be putting in your GPA. Again, if you don't remember, please estimate. And it's going to be asking about your English and math grades. So you're going to put the highest level of English and math you took as a senior in high school, and you're going to put that down here. Once you've done that, you're going to select continue and move on to the next portion. Now we're going to be brought to the portion about your citizenship and immigration status. In this portion, you're going to be selecting which one applies to you. If you're a U.S. citizen, you would just select that option and be done. If not, you would select one of the other options and put in your alien registration number and any information it asks you. Now we're going to scroll down and select if we're a U.S. military dependent or not. Right now I'm going to select none apply to me, and then we're going to press continue. Once we've done that, we're going to move on to our residency. If we've lived in California since February 17, 2023, or whatever date is provided, you're going to select yes. If you were born here, you'd also put yes. Otherwise, you'd put no and fill out the date you did come to California. Out-of-state activities, this is if you've moved outside of California during the date shown and paid taxes or done anything out of state. If not, and you've lived here, then you shouldn't worry about it. Special residency categories, if you've been in court-ordered foster care, you'd put yes or no regarding your situation, and then continue. Now, as for your main language, if you're comfortable reading and writing English, you'd put yes or no depending on your ability to speak English, and then scroll down to financial assistance. This is asking if you're interested in receiving any information about money for college or receiving any of these different programs like TANF or CalWORKS or general assistance. Once you fill that out, you can go down to the athletic interest portion. If you are interested in participating in a college sport, you would select one of the yes options. If not, you would select no and move on. For our programs and services, these are all the different programs we have on campus, and you would select ones that you're interested in. These are the ones that I most commonly see in students, and I just select these, and once I've selected the ones I'm interested in, I would move on. Once you press continue, you're going to be brought to the next portion of our application. This is about your demographic information, and this section is going to be regarding your gender. So you'd fill out whichever one applies to you regarding your gender, transgender status, and sexual orientation. Once you fill this part out, we're going to move on to your dependents, whether you have children or not. If you do, you'd put the age of your children and how many you have. If not, you would move on to the parent information. So this is asking whether your parents have attended college or high school, and if you don't know the information, you would put unknown and then continue. As for your race and ethnicity, you would select the ones that apply to you, and this should be the last section of this page. Once you've selected whichever one applies to you, you can scroll down and select continue. If you've previously enrolled at our college, you would put your old ID number, but if not, then you would leave the space blank. If you indicated white in the previous ethnic background question, you would select this option. If not, then you could also leave this section blank and move on. You would select your background information and then continue to the next part. You could select whichever option you're comfortable with, yes or no, and then continue on to the application. Your answer will not affect your application status. Once you fill that out, these are different ways that the school can contact you. You could select whichever one you're most comfortable with and that you'll respond to faster. Now it's going to ask about 10 to 15 questions about whether you need help registering for classes, completing financial aid, the questions about your major, and once you answer all of these questions and fill all this information out, you're going to be done with the application. This is the last stretch of the application, and you'll be able to submit after you've answered these questions, depending on what applies to you. Once you've filled out this last stretch of the application, you're going to make sure you've completed all of the 15 questions, and then you're going to go ahead and select continue. Once you've done that, you can review your application with this button, but if you're confident, you can scroll down, read the terms, and select consent. Then you can submit your application by checking I agree for these two boxes and scroll down and hit submit. Once you've done that, in 24 to 48 hours, the school should be able to send you a confirmation email with your student ID number, and you should be considered a student at this point. If you have any questions, please ask the admissions office and show them the screenshot of this page. Thank you.